So we have amazingly been through a whole afternoon together. And I don't know about you, but I've been based here in the Aroha room, which I've loved. We've had some amazing speakers. Just the quality and the consistency of the messages have been really inspiring. So we're not going to spend a long time right now in this reflection time and the ending. What we are going to do, I'm going to share a few of my reflections, and then I've asked Nicola Patrick if she could share some reflections because she hasn't been involved in the organizing of this event. So I'm really keen to get somebody outside to give some thoughts. And then I've asked Anton, and then I'll share a few things in terms of next steps. What's next? What does this all mean? Just the little things. And then we'll ask Anton to close us out to give a nice closure. The way that we started is the way that we'll end. So I was just curious, and Erica had kicked us off just before we started, just asking how are people feeling? I'd like to change that slightly and just ask, what have you enjoyed about the event? What have you appreciated about it? So I'd love to see some chats as I'm talking, and you can just start putting in one word or a sentence or whatever. I'm really keen just to understand that as immediate feedback is what is it that you've enjoyed about this? We started the day thinking about He Waka Eke Noa, as in we are all in this together. And to me, that's the theme that we were really hoping would come through all the sessions. So I guess from a couple reflections from me, I come back to that avocado that I raised up at the start, and hopefully that's an image that is a helpful one. I want to draw out a slightly different image this time, which is that seed within it, each of the sessions that we had multiple seeds, lots of seeds there. What does it mean for us to help water and cultivate and provide the right ingredients, the nutrients, the sun? What does it mean for us? What's our responsibility to help cultivate the seeds, which we've been hearing about in each of the sessions, so that we can help grow more of these, so that we can actually help to grow trees that then will lead to more seeds. So that's my first reflection, my first challenge. What does this mean for you personally? How can you take what you've done, what you've listened to, and how can you help to water some of these seeds in terms of the ideas that have been spread? The second reflection I have is just, I was really blown away by the quality of the submissions of ideas. We had 35 different submissions, and we had about 80 people listening in on the Tuesday call where we were doing the briefing. And I know lots of people, it's a crazy time, so there was lots more ideas even than that. But I was really impressed with the quality, and I'm sure you were as well, that we were able to assemble within a couple days such good quality, and the conversation is just elevated, I think. And the insights that you've all been able to share. And the intention as well with the breakout room idea was that each of you could have a chance to communicate, to talk about it, that it wasn't just listening in, there was actually some physical action that you hopefully took, communicating something or some learning. The third reflection that I have is just what can be done really quickly. You know, literally 3 weeks ago, I remember starting to reach out to the amazing team of people who are behind the scenes, and the enthusiasm that they had to come along, to come on the journey. And the reality is that no one person could have done this thing. Like, there's absolutely no way that any one of us could have done it. But the unique skill set that all of the people, and we had, I think there's about 55 different people in the Slack channel, just people dipping in and contributing one little thing, jumping out, other people there doing huge amounts of work, creating that wonderful program. You know, it's just been amazing what can be done quickly, and how we can use technology, you know, leveraging technology, the virtual way that we're having to do this. What does it mean for the future? I'm not going to answer that question. I'm just raising it as a thought-provoking thing for you all to be thinking about. The other thing that I want to challenge you on is, if you presented a topic today, then why not write it up and get it published? Send it to the newspaper, have it on a blog post, get it out there in other ways. And if you listened, what have you been inspired by? And do you want to continue connecting with the people that were part of that particular group? So that was the intention behind the Google Documents, that we actually are able to collaborate and that we're actually able to plant some seeds, hopefully, some new connections and conversations that can be ongoing beyond this event. Because we knew this was a relatively short thing. You know, it's compressed, they're short sessions, but our hope is that you can take on board the fact that you've connected with people and that you can actually learn from each other and challenge each other. And I can't wait to see what results. Like, I think there's going to be some surprising things. So those are some of my reflections. And I just would love to hand over, if Nicola can turn yourself off of mute. We'd love to hear two things from you, Nicola. The first is just some reflections from you as somebody who's participated and presented one of the sessions, I think. And then the second thing is that you're involved in some work that's going on in the regions and supporting people with ideas, particularly around social enterprise and impact. So we would love to hear from you just some thoughts about what that is and what that might mean for some of the people who've got some inspiration and ideas. So I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. Kia ora anō, everyone. Yeah, look, this has been amazing. I've written myself five points that cover those two questions, so I'll whip through them. The first is that I felt very lucky to have already been to a couple of unconferences, so I didn't have the dilemma of what's an unconference ahead of me. And so I went in it trusting it was going to be amazing. And sure enough, blimmin', incredible, absolutely amazing, really intense, really energizing. And I'm so grateful for the use of music. That musical interlude was just such a gem. The second point I want to make is about the depth of real connection I've felt through it. I know, I'm confident that I'm following up with at least 3 or 4 people at a deeper level following this. And having been someone who's been to lots of conferences in my life, that doesn't always happen. So this format does work for that. The technology has been really good. It's been really smooth. Those breakout groups were amazing. It was really awesome. I know I'm going to be connected to some of those conversations. And one of the quotes that came out of it was this: making the most of the small opportunity when humanity is at its best. We're in this crisis time and we've come together, and personally I think it's no great surprise that a good number of the people behind this event are based in Christchurch and are people who have been through their own version of a really intense crisis and have made the most of that time and come together and driven change. The third one, and for some of you, you've been on a group where I've raised this point already, but it's just been a really strong theme, is the need for us to have this emotional intelligence and this ability to talk deeply about ideas of love and grief and courage and trust, and how those all feed into the ability for us as communities to go on a change journey and to help people who aren't quite as ready as lots of us are to drive change. So for me, that's been really important. The fourth point I want to make is what Steven said about this really awesome emerging network that I'm part of, along with people I can see on the screen like Joe Allen. And we've set up an email address and it's in the document. And I think Anne might even type it up as I speak. And it's community-led-enterprise@gmail.nz. So it's just in the last week, a group of us who had been working under the Impact Initiative with SENT, the Community Enterprise Network Trust, and Arkina Foundation. There are people from around the country, provincially based, who came together as part of a regional hubs pilot. We've decided there is value in staying connected and want to invite others who are in the space of helping people grow community-led enterprises. So in the capability building space, to come together and have a really strong regional voice and place-based voice in that. And we're lucky we're connected to the Impact Initiative. I'm lucky to be a representative on the sector working group with Matthew Luxon and others. So we want to let you know we're coming, we're starting, and we really want to drive connection in the space. So yeah, what did I say? Did I say gmail.nz? But I meant gmail.com, sorry. And so my final point, and I just feel at the moment there's this huge momentum, and that this is part of this growing tipping point. And it's such this huge honor to be part of this online impact unconference at this time in New Zealand, and unfortunately the world's history, where we're facing this massive thing that's throwing us all in together. For me, there have been very practical directions and tips that have come out of today, but mainly there's been this huge shot in the arm of energy and excitement for us to move forward together. So I just want to be bold enough to say thank you, Steven, Erica, the team. You're just really amazing. You've pulled off a very, very smooth event, and I'm just really grateful to have been part of it. Thank you.
That's great. Well, that's awesome. I didn't know exactly what you were going to say, so that's really good that it was positive. I'm glad for that. And I just want to highlight one thing you mentioned. You know, when you're building a conference, it's very easy to just focus on the session, like getting the content, and we've done that. But that having the music in the middle, having the poetry, having the connection time, that was purposeful. So I'd encourage all of you, I'm sure many of you organize events and conferences, just take that on board, because I think it helps to focus us that there's some important things that you can't communicate just with words. And music and, you know, the way of connecting in that way is just so important. And the other thing I wanted to say is thank you to those musicians. I would really personally love it if you would support them. They are all young people. They've got dynamism. They're beautiful, amazing musicians. If we can get behind them and support them, I'm sure that that would be really big help for them. So a little plug for them. Now, the final things I wanted to say is just what next? The first thing is there are these Google documents for each session. So if you really were, you know, resonating, if there was a good vibe around one or multiple ones, then please put your details into those. Those links are still up. We really want to connect and cultivate community. And I think that we have something really good that will result if we can do that well. So please, if you haven't done it, go in and drop your details and things and any comments into the Google Docs. The other thing is that I'm pretty sure that each of the speakers would welcome your thoughts. I know whenever I speak, one of the most frustrating things is to kind of walk away from the event and not hear back. So I'd encourage you all to reach out to people if they said something that you really appreciated. Why not let them know? Connect with them, say that was great. You know, it's one of the most encouraging things is if you present and then people actually let you know. The other thing is, the way we design this is that you literally could not attend every session. And that's part of being in an unconference, is that you move from room to room, from place to place. But fortunately, with technology, we've been recording the sessions. So what we're going to do is put them up as YouTube videos, subject to everybody confirming they agree and all that. They will become available, and I'm planning to spend a little bit of time just finishing them over a long weekend, which is about to start. And the reason for doing that is I want them to get out quickly, because it would be great. I know there will be sessions that you wished you could have gone to, but you chose this one. So the point is that there's going to be catch up, quite a lot of homework there. If you wanted to attend one, but you couldn't, it will be possible. The other thing I'd encourage you to do is share it. You know, if you went to one that was really inspiring, like the one with Anton was fantastic about te reo in business. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it, then watch it. And he had some amazingly helpful tips for how to accelerate the acceptance of te reo in our workplaces. So that's something that you could take on board and you could actually share with your networks. And the thing that I always find is that people thank me when I share useful content. And I think you'll agree that nearly, well, everything as far as I've seen has been really helpful today. So I just encourage you to do that. The other thing is that the audio, I'll check with the presenters, but I'm planning to put some of it as audio on the podcast that I've been doing called Seeds. And so that will be another way for people to connect. Because if you're mowing the lawn or driving or whatever, I might just make one super long episode of lots of it. And that way you can just download that. And that's a side project I've got where there's now 175 interviews of inspiring people. And yeah, so I'll try to put it up there. And then the other thing, at the back of the program, we have ways for you to continue the connections. So we have a LinkedIn page, there's a Facebook page. So why not go on while it's fresh and like those? Then you'll easily see upcoming things. If you registered, then we have your emails. So we'll be able to let you know if things are happening. And we'll also send links to the videos by email to you. But social media is a great way to connect. And if anybody is willing or wants to, I've created Facebook groups and LinkedIn group for those profiles, but I haven't posted anything. So if any of you want to, feel free, you can join and then we can co-create it and take it forward. The second to last thing is we will send out a feedback form, and we would really appreciate if you could fill it in and let us know. We've got some of your chat comments, which is awesome, but we'll ask some more detailed questions about what you appreciated, what we can learn, how we can improve this, and just try to collate that feedback. And the reason for that is that we actually are planning to open source how we created this. We want this to be a helpful learning experience that other people will be able to have. I think right now, but it's in development, I've started writing a document called What We Learned from Running the Impact Unconference. And I'm just gonna, with the team, we'll just put in everything that we learned. And that way other people will be able to access that and learn, because believe me, there's been a lot of learnings. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is, what do you think? Would you like to see this done again? I think it's gone well, but we don't have a plan. We don't have a date or a time or anything like that. So we're just gonna have to see how it goes. It will kind of depend on your feedback, and I'm seeing a few yeses there. So I think we probably will do it again. So the message there is just keep an eye on the socials and the website. We basically had about 350 people who signed up for this event. We can learn from this with technology. There's no reason why you couldn't leverage this and go even bigger. But is that what we want? Smaller is kind of nice too. It's all this type of question. So we're keen for your feedback. So when we send the feedback form, please actively give it back to us. I know we'll move on to the next things, but if you can just take 5 minutes, that would be really, really awesome. And then I think the last thing from me is I just want to say really, I can't, the words don't express it properly, but a thank you to each one of you who've been here today. You have helped to create something that hasn't, as far as I know, ever been done in New Zealand. And that is significant. So if you're here, then you are part of something that is really special. We are interwoven together now going forward. And I like to think of it as spider webs that you can't necessarily see, but they're ties that bind us, that connect us. And I just can't wait to see what comes as a result of this. And like I said at the start, we may not see for months, for years, but I can't wait to hear the stories of how somebody connected or heard a challenging thought and it altered their life course, or they changed something because they were here today. So a huge thank you to everybody who's come. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your supporting it and sharing it and telling others about it as well. And the final thank you is for the team behind the scenes. And I wish there was some way I could kind of share the screen with just those faces that I've come to know. But we've literally been, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes. There's just no other way to say it. And so my heartfelt thanks to the team that put it together. No one of us could have done it. We each played a valuable role, and all of you know who you are. So I'm not going to try to say every single person's name. In the program, we put as many names as we could remember there at the back. So check those out. But I just want to say thank you so much to the team, and it's been a real pleasure working with you. I think we've created something that's amazing and really special. And in only 3 weeks, it's just really stunning. So thank you. Now, Anton, yeah, we'll get some waves.
I just wanted to add one more thing. As you know, we've only put in the top 20 topics into the program this time. We are thinking if we run another Unconference sometime soon, we will get in touch with the topics that weren't voted in the top 20 to see if they want to still run their sessions next time, so no one actually gets missed out. So that is definitely on the back of my mind because in Unconference we all co-create together. Yes, you've missed out this time, but we are prioritizing you next time.
Yeah, great point. Thank you so much, Erica. See, that's the beauty of team. You pick things up. And I would say as well, if you didn't present today, that doesn't mean that your idea isn't worth publishing or getting out there in some way. So go for it, you know, get it out into the world. My son is here to say goodbye to you all. So
Dad.
I think what I'll do after Anton leads us through the ending, I'll just leave this room open. If any of you would like to stick around, then you're welcome to, and just network for a while and just have a chat or a talk. That's fine. We won't be actively curating that. But if you have time and you want to stay a bit longer, then that's completely fine. But thank you once again to everybody involved, and you get the point. I won't go on. Anton, do you mind leading us through the ending?
Oh, kia ora, Stephen and Co. And look, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone else. Thank you very much to those of you who worked tirelessly, I'm sure, over the last few weeks and months to put this together. Great conference, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure lots of others did as well. So thank you on behalf of everyone for all your hard work. However, time's come to an end. All good things must come to an end. And the tikanga, the custom is that, like Stephen said, how you begin is you should also finish on the same note. And so with that said, the karakia, the chant, incantation, whatever you want to call it, that I'm about to do is just wishing everyone a good afternoon, a peaceful sleep tonight. I know you'll probably have a lot of things bouncing around in your hinengaro, in your brain, in your imagination at the moment, but just wishing everyone a long sleep, a deep sleep, a sleep where you're not rolling around and being disturbed, and waking up tomorrow morning full of energy, ready to rock and roll and take on the world. So without further ado, me karakia tātou. E aku mātu aku tūpuna tauwhirotia mai rā mātou I tēnei pō. Kia ua no hoki ki roto I a mātou ngā kōrero tuku I hoa rā tauma. Kia au te moe, kia parangia e te moe nui, e te moe roa, e te moe te huri huri, puta ki te ata pua o puta ki te ata hāpara. Korau noa korau ora tūturu orongo whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e hui e tāiki e. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Stephen, and aroha nui kia koutou katoa.